I'm tired of being imposed upon by mediocrity and second-rate people who happen to have brown skin. Have you seen the violent upsurge in violence going on in the cities around this country? Bodies are piling up. These professional blacks have got nothing to say about it. And moreover, they don't know anybody who got killed. They haven't put a microphone in front of a grieving mother at a funeral where there's a little coffin because it was an 8-year-old in front of a storefront tambourine banging church. They haven't been there. They're supposed to be journalists, and they busy themselves with shit like the 1619 Project, and they don't present themselves at the most fundamental juncture of pathos and loss that is in the black experience today. They have nothing to say about it.
Every now and then I open up Twitter and I find a certain professor, a certain black male professor, who thinks that you and I are charlatans. He thinks that we're underinformed and that we have no business having whatever pulpit we have because we don't know what we're talking about. We don't make solid arguments. And, he keeps pushing it and pushing it. And I don't block people on Twitter unless they're extreme. But he's the type where I can tell that he would enjoy it if he saw that I had blocked him. His name is Isaac Bailey. I'm not going to be coy as I usually am. And
that's his real name or the Twitter name?
That's his real name. And he's not vicious, but, he's just quite partly dismissive. And I had an interesting experience last night, which is that I was part of this forum that Ford co-sponsored. And so it's me and Camille
Ford, the foundation?
No, the magazine, Fordwärts, the Yiddish. Yeah.
Oh, Forward. I beg your pardon. Okay. The Yiddish magazine.
So it's Camille and me, and then they wanted to have 2 other people. And I don't want this to be about Kendi again. We're just going to drive past him. But they asked Kendi, and there was no response because Kendi doesn't debate, apparently. And it turned out that the only person they could get to be the other side was this Isaac Bailey. And I must admit that, supposedly you and I are these charlatans, and we have nothing interesting to say. But I swear to you that Isaac Bailey didn't say a single thing that we haven't all heard millions of times before over the past 50 years. And I was just thinking, what is it that he thinks is so wrong about the things I'm saying in this forum? I've said the things I always say. I was neither better nor worse than I usually am. And I was thinking, I didn't know until this started. It's this I.J. Bailey who doesn't like me on Twitter. So I was just waiting to hear, okay, what is the wisdom? And to tell you the truth, Glenn, I didn't hear anything that outdid the sorts of things that you and I say. This person thinks that these warmed over platitudes and buzzwords are somehow a higher kind of thinking. And so what we miss is that we're just not using the platitudes and buzzwords. I was really thrown by that because I was really waiting to hear something different. And all of this ties into what happened to Coleman. There is something to the sorts of things we're saying. Forbes understands that there's something to what we're saying.
May I comment?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want to notice what you're doing. You are reporting on a real-time basis. It was last night, an encounter with a person by name of color with whom you were engaged in professional fisticuffs, professional jousting. And you are calling that person, these are my words, but I'm sure getting that message, somehow unfit, mediocre, unqualified, uninteresting, not very deep.
No, not this. Not this
second rate.
Not this time.
Okay. Yes. I misunderstand you then.
Last time, yes.
That's about me than about you.
No, this is a repeat of last time.
Mouthing platitudes. Okay. Is it
okay? Let me rephrase it. Rephrase it a little bit. No, because I'm not dissing him in any major way. It's just that he didn't have anything to say that many, many other people haven't said, and that the logical holes in are clear. It was interesting to me that he has listened to you and me, because I got the feeling he hasn't taken the occasion to actually think that maybe sentences uttered by Black people without those 10 or 11 buzzwords actually make sense. No, he's not. I don't think he doesn't deserve his job. He's not.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying he's not very deep, and he's not offering anything intellectually value added to the interchange.
Let me try this. I'm
saying he's doing something that just about anybody would do. It's an identity presentation, and you learn the script, and then you get up there and you be the angry Black man, the angry Black woman, I'm going to insist on the transgenerational injustice done to our people because of the blah, blah. And you mouth systemic racism, white supremacy, check your privilege platitudes. I mean, he hasn't said anything that somebody hasn't said before. What's he doing there then? What was the point of having him there? We could have had an avatar say those things. So nobody says that about your presentations except someone who is so implacably biased against you that there's nothing that you could say that they would ever take to be worth anything. Everybody says after your presentations something like, I think that brother is wrong, but I must say he expresses them very well. He's got some profound insights. They say something like that. They never say, oh, John McWhorter, what did I learn from him? So it does sound to me like, and I wanted to take it further. There's kind of like a taboo on this. A lot of mediocrity out there, parading around, mouthing platitudes and spouting slogans. A lot of it, playing an identity card, daring you to say you're an empty suit, daring you to say you're not a serious person. So I'm back to where I was in our last conversation about this. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of being imposed upon by mediocrity and second-rate people who happen to have brown skin. I'm tired of them daring me to call them out.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The bodies mount. Hold on. Let me, I could go on for a long time about this and I won't. I promise you. Have you seen the violent, upsurge in violence going on in the cities around this country? I'm talking about St. Louis. I'm talking about Minneapolis. I'm not just talking about Chicago. I'm not just talking about Baltimore. Bodies are piling up. These professional blacks have got nothing to say about it. And moreover, they don't know anybody who got killed. They haven't put a microphone in front of a grieving mother at a funeral where there's a little coffin because it was an 8-year-old in front of a storefront Pentecostal tambourine banging church. They haven't been there. They're supposed to be journalists and they busy themselves with shit like the 1619 Project. And they don't present themselves at the most fundamental juncture of pathos and loss that is in the Black experience today. They have nothing to say about it. Let George Floyd get killed, and then there is a cause célèbre and a national movement. Let 100 or 1,000 of these kids drift off into oblivion, and there's not a mumbling word, and I'm tired of it. They call themselves journalists. They call themselves people of letters. They call themselves passionate social critics. I could name the names. Give me a minute.
I want to be careful here because I'm not that angry at Isaac Bailey. There's a difference between Kendi, who we were talking about last week, and him, which is that with Kendi, the whole world is anointing him as the best that Black people can present. And I find that, to use this worn out word, I find that racist. And so I wanted to say some things that I thought needed to be said. With this Isaac Bailey, and I don't want to overdo it with him, he's not being elevated in that way. And therefore I'm not angry about him because of something like that. And he is instead, you're saying it's mediocre, but I don't think he or legions of other people can help growing up Black in this country, especially since about 1966, and being minted in this idea that the main thing we need to think about, our main identity, especially as thinking people, is to decry white racism of various kinds. And so during this exchange that we had, he even said at one point, all of Black people's problems are not due to white racism. He said it, but it was also clear. And in this, he's normal. He's not an extreme. What he really still wants to talk about is how white people feel about Black people and the operations of racism, et cetera. That is absolutely key to his thought. And that means that listening to us must be extremely irritating. And I was just bemused in that he pops up on Twitter, using my handle. He wants me to see this stuff. I guess it's called calling me out, saying these very dismissive things about you and me. And, on the one hand, I could let it roll off of me, which I have. I never responded to him. I didn't block him. But then all of a sudden, there he is basically in my house last night. And I kind of thought, okay, here's one of these people. What's he got? What's he got? If I'm a charlatan, what is he going to come up with? And it just was indicative to me that it was just the same old stuff. And he's not unique in that. But
did he get personal? May I ask? Did he?
No, he didn't. Not at all. He is not that kind of person. But I just thought, this really is it. That's all people like this have. And in the meantime, Forbes anoints Coleman as something very special. That's a move in the right direction. I don't think you and I have any surprises coming. It's not that they know something we don't. And I like it when I see the wider society just acknowledging that we might have a valid view.